February 16th, day after Family Day, and hopefully everyone's well rested because you had a long weekend. Not sure if you had your classes yesterday or not. Don't know if that happened. I can't remember what happens on weekends when there's classes on Monday. But today's Tuesday. Woke up to lots of snow outside. It started snowing late last night, and I guess it got me moving quickly this morning. Had to go outside and clear most of the driveway so my wife can get the car out to go. She can go to work. Didn't quite get it all done because of the amount of snow that came down, and we, for some reason, we're lucky enough or unlucky enough that we're sort of the first house after the corner, and the snowplow just dumps tons of snow in our driveway. Seems to be more than any one other house on the street. But that's okay. Gives me a little bit of morning exercise, I guess, even if I didn't need it. Wonder how everyone else is doing this morning. Everyone doing okay? Doing all right? Good, Stavros. Good to hear. All right, James. Thank you. Ashlyn. Eric. All right. That's good. Good. Hoping on the last few days you got caught up on your schoolwork, or you have to spend some time with your family, or do something that you like doing. I know yesterday I live near Barrie, but we went up to Awenda. There's a provincial park that's nearby, and did some snowshoeing up there out down to the beach, which was pretty good, pretty tiring because if you've ever been to that park, it's sort of downhill all the way there, and then it's uphill all the way back, which is a little tiring. So it's a few hours of snowshoeing, but went down to the beach, which was Georgian Bay, and it's frozen over right now, at least that part of it. Didn't really go out on it because you never can trust Georgian Bay, at least that area. So that was good. Did a little bit of that. Had some homemade sushi for dinner last night, which was good. And yeah, that was pretty good. So looks like we made it to week 5, which was fantastic. It's 5, 6, 7. We have after this week, we have 2 more weeks before reading week. So that's good to know too. All right, how many people? We're up to about 13 people here, which was not bad. Does anyone have any questions this morning before we get started with our parking lesson? It was pretty quiet. That's all right. So we know today we have a lesson on parking in the modules, and then we have I do have a presentation, and that'll come up. Well, sorry, we have the lesson on parking. We'll have the quiz, and then we'll get into the presentation, and then we'll work through the learning module and the challenge or learning phase and challenge phase of this week's module. So most of you are keeping up with the modules. There's a few that I haven't seen lots of activity with some of you. So if you have questions about it, I know I did have a one-on-one last week with one student. So if anyone needs any assistance on getting rolling on the modules, they really, I find once you do 1 or 2, they're all kind of well, it uses the same software, but you kind of get used to them. So find the ones after you do the first few get a little bit easier, I would say, because you kind of figure out what you're doing. You're still flipping through the same reports and looking for the same info or different information in the same places. So it I think it becomes a little bit easier. Okay. Let me share with you this week's lesson. Share. Hold on a second. That's the one. Okay, let me try and share that again. There we go. Lovely. Okay, parking and revenue. We'll get right into it. It's 8:07. We have approximately 14 people with us this morning. Interesting that we see the same. I see the same people every week, so there's not too many changes, but at least I'm recognizing most of the names, even from last semester, with similar names. Okay. Excuse me. I always seem to have something in my throat. I gotta. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Parking and revenue. All right. Might seem a little bit boring, but I'll make it as exciting as I can. When you're talking about parking and revenue, we're talking about different stadiums. All right. So there's a bunch of examples in here. We'll go through this. So we do know that stadium parking procedures differ from team to team based on stadium location. So basically the location is the biggest one factor variable when talking about parking, where the stadium's located. So a team stadium location will dictate team-owned parking lot space availability, private-owned parking lot space availability, and or public transportation options. All right, and we will get into each one of those. So fans going, so city-based stadium. So I think a lot of the ones that we know and love in our communities, and I don't know where everyone's located, but the examples I have here are Fenway Park in Boston, Wrigley Field in Chicago, National Parks, Washington, D.C. stadiums. So they're all in the heart of downtown and will have limited options for parking. So we also know in our beautiful city of Toronto, we have the Rogers Center, or I'm going to refer to as the Sky Dome, which is right down in the heart of the city. It's called the ACC, now called the Rogers Center or Rogers Place. I'm sorry if I get those names wrong, but where the Leafs play their games. It is located downtown with not too much parking around it, a little bit. Those are some interesting ones. If you live in Hamilton, there's Cops Coliseum that's downtown. And I have some other examples that we're going to be talking about, just so you know where are those ones. If you live in Barrie, at the junior hockey level, last week we talked about the Sadlin Center, where the Colts play down in the South End, which it does have parking around it because it's not in the downtown location. If anyone follows baseball in Barrie, we have our Barrie Baycats, who do play at the Barrie Sports Complex in, I think it's called Barrie Steel Stadium or something like that. I'm not sure the name of that stadium. But there was a bit of not really a rumor, but a discussion that they were going to move the stadium from out in at the Barrie Sports Complex to down around Lakeshore, sort of where the South Shore Community Center is. So that would have really been a change in parking. Okay, so In these downtown city-based stadiums, fans need to rely on public transportation and private parking structures. I know I shared a few stories with you about going to the Rogers Center or the Dome and, taking the public transportation down there. But, sometimes if I go down with my dad, who's not maybe too happy about taking public transit, then we do find some expensive parking that's near this stadium. Somewhat, they say near, but it's not really that close. Some of them private parking structures are close to stadium. Additionally, those teams most likely to not own the parking structures surrounding the stadium and therefore having limited opportunity to control pieces or generate revenue for fans parking. Look at the Nationals parking in figure 1. So we see down here, I sort of highlighted it with yellow, that National Stadium is down here. They have 8 team-owned parking lots near the stadium on the map. You can see them here. There's like one here and here. See all these letters there, up here. These are all parking lots. 2 public transportation stops within the walking. Okay, so public transit. I'm going to try and make this larger. Let's see. So hard to read that. Public transit is maybe, I think it's the M, those ones, if we could read them. Can't really read them, but we're going to go with M. Is that what it says? Okay, public transit. So we're going to say M is the public transit because they look a bit different. Okay, so those are the city-based stadiums. Now, I do also have some other examples I want to share with you. I'm going to switch over. So I'm going to stop sharing this one. I'm going to go back and share something else I have. Moment, get this opened up. Stadiums. Didn't have it open yet. Okay. Here. I know in the past we have talked about Madison Square Gardens. This is, I just took this aerial shot of Google Earth or something like that. So you can see Madison Square Gardens is a circular arena. Oops. All right. Get that on this center of the screen. And there, right, that's better. You can see that, obviously Manhattan is, the building is surrounded by, streets on this side, this side, this side, this side. Where's the parking in New York? Not too much parking in New York. Probably everyone takes public transit. There might be some underground parking here for VIPs or people with private boxes, that sort of thing. So see that, this is definitely a city-based stadium right in the heart of Manhattan. Okay. So another little example that I just wanted to show you. Okay, let's go back to hold on, just looking for it. This one here. All right. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so city-based. Then we're going to look at our rural suburban-based stadiums. So location 2 for teams that have stadiums in the suburbs with ample parking spaces. They also run into issues with public transportation and privately owned parking structures trying to undercut their prices. So, for instance, and they're going to use American, but I have some Canadian examples. New England Patriots play in Foxborough, Massachusetts, which is roughly half an hour from Boston. The Patriots owned lots. A fan will pay $40 for a car, SUV, truck, and up to $150 for RVs, limos, and buses. Figure 2 for the New England Patriots map layout. Okay, we're going to see that. In addition to the Patriots own parking, there are 38 private parking structures near the stadium. Most of their prices at the lots are $50 per car due to the advantage of quicker exit out of town. So that people would actually pay more for the private lots because they're a bit further away and they don't have to get caught in the transportation, in the traffic and the log jam of cars trying to leave the area. Also, local trains run directly from Boston to Gillette Stadium for around $20 a trip. We can see that at this stadium here, I make that a little bigger. All these little bubbles are different parking areas. You can see urban-based stadiums out of the city. There's tons of parking around this stadium. You can just see them tons and tons. I think if you're looking at the light blue is general parking. I know it's hard to see. These peach-colored ones down here, they're club suite parking, so close to the stadium. Like I said, these ones are general parking up here, general parking here. Then we have oversized vehicles are the dark pink, which is this one up here, oversized vehicles. Next one is retail. Oh, can't even read that. Sorry. I think it says retail only parking. Reserve parking is green, so right there. ADA, so that's like our AODA parking, which should be close to stadium. We have a little bit over here, and we have little bits here and here, and so on. There's all these little spots down here that are for vehicles AODA. Then there's media parking, the dark purple. They have everything sorted out. DraftKings, it must be a special lot right here. I'm not even sure if it's this one over here. And then we have lot 20 premium and Uber lot. So let's have a lot right here where you get an Uber vehicle. So they have it sort of figured out at the at this stadium with all the different. When you have lots more land, you are able to definitely find more space to set up parking. Right, so that's what we're looking at, New England parking map. Now, I'm just going to also share with you some other examples I have of that you might be more familiar with. Back to this one. Oops. Hold on a second. That it doesn't pop up on my screen with that. Let me see if I can. All right, here we go. All right. Okay, hopefully you can see this one. I believe you can. Ottawa Senators play at the Canadian Tire Center. We know that's way out of town. It's about a half hour out of town, similar to the New England Patriots. We can see in the center here, outlined in red, is the stadium right here. But we can see that, you know, the parking for this stadium all around here. This is all parking that they have for their stadium. But they've also, down the 417, have had to do transportation to and from Ottawa. Down here, off, and come in. And provide transportation to the people living in Ottawa that don't want to park, maybe want to have a drink at the game. You can see here's a shot of it. All the parking lots around the Canadian Tire Center, ample parking right around here. You can't see it all, but that's some of it. And then as we go down to Buffalo Bills Stadium is one that I also wanted to show you because it's a little bit out of town. And here's a shot here of the Buffalo Bills. And I think as we go through this lesson, we're going to be talking about the Buffalo Bills Stadium a bit more. But we can see that there's the stadium down in the center here. Obviously, you can easily see that. And then we have different parking around here, all over here, here. There's parking all around the stadium. And then as we show you a shot of it. There's the Ralph Wilson Stadium right there with lots of parking all the way around the stadium. Okay, so another example of a urban or a stadium that is located outside of the. That's not the right one. Sorry, I'm just trying to share the correct screen with you. Share. Share. Got it. Okay, so then we're. Hello. Yeah, hold on a second here. All right. Sorry about that. Hybrid locations. Stadiums that are in the city but have parking lots surrounding the stadium. Teams have the ability to provide premium parking to season ticket holders, as well as provide off-site lots and shuttle opportunities. So the Denver Broncos are a prime example. I haven't been to their stadium. Broncos reserve this parking for season ticket holders with any empty spots left over sold for first come first serve between 20 and 30. For all others parking, Bronco partners with other entities offsite, okay, like the Pepsi Center, Denver Aquarium, and Oriari campus. Easy for me to say. The Broncos also provide Broncos Ride, a shuttle service to various park and ride locations. This is pretty affordable, you know, when you're looking at $4.50 to $10, depending on the distance. That's pretty good. But you have to know that parking is basically a revenue generation business. So team will conduct a supply and demand analysis, okay? And when determining proper prices for parking, teams like the Nationals, the Cubs have limited parking options, creating a high demand in theory. They will not, however, be able to mark up parking prices due to private parking competitors and an efficient public transportation system. So even though they have limited parking that probably fills up every game, they can't overcharge because of these competitors parking. They'll keep their price at a similar level or at a static level. And then there's also the efficient public transportation. So it does keep their hands tied, which is good with marking up the prices. Teams like the Patriots and Cowboys, stadiums with ample parking, will also not be able to mark up prices. Parking because proximity to the stadium is not the only factors fans take into account. So even though you're close, there's other things that fans look for, other amenities when going to a game. Now, this isn't as big of a thing in Canada, but tailgating is huge at many different stadiums in the States. So has anyone ever experienced any tailgating in the States? Maybe someone can share something. Someone been to Buffalo?
I've been to a Buffalo game before with the
Right.
tailgating going on.
Okay, and how was that, Zach?
They're pretty crazy there. Like there was a big group of us that went, so we were kind of right in the middle of it. Like we took a bus and stuff, and there was a big area where the buses and RVs and stuff park, and they're pretty crazy at the Buffalo games.
Okay, so definitely a big part of the whole experience of going to the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. So definitely an excellent example of the tailgating that happens at the Buffalo Stadium. So good example. Thank you for sharing that. I know Canada's, or I guess Toronto has tried a little bit. If anyone has been to the what do they call it, Jurassic Park for the Raptors down by the stadium, it's sort of a controlled area, or I'm not sure what they call it for the Leaf games. When they had it started just as people going outside the stadium because they couldn't get in. to watch the game because they either couldn't get a ticket or they're too expensive. So people started congregating outside. Maybe calling it Maple Leaf Park or something like that. I'm not sure what they call it. Maybe somebody can help me there. Anyways, then they eventually, what it sort of morphed into is that it's a fenced off area and only a certain amount of people are allowed in because of capacity and so on. And it's really taken all the fun, well, I think the fun out of it. So the tailgating, RV and bus access is another thing. Ease of egress, which we talked about last week. We know that egress is leaving the stadium. That's a big thing. It's amazing how, kicked off people get, if you have to sit in your car for an hour after a game trying to get home or wherever you're going. So if you live in Barrie and you're down at the Sky Dome and you go to a game and it's 10 o'clock and you have to wait another hour, then you have another hour home, by the time you get home, it's between 12 and 1 a.m. So it just sort of does not make the experience as good as it should be. Okay, so you will choose to go to somewhere else with easier egress. Let me go back up to the top of this page. Looking at VIP parking, and it has become more and more common with teams to include VIP parking with the premium ticket packages. For example, the New York Giants have exclusive premium parking lots for personal seat license holders, club level ticket holders, and suite level ticket holders. Parking is therefore included as one of the amenities in the ticket package. This allowed teams to not only charge more for tickets, but also upcharge prices for parking. So general parking at the stadium costs $30, but when parking is included in the $18,000 suite level tickets, it becomes a greater percentage of the ticket price, which generates more revenue for the team. So it may cost you, to park one-offs $30. These people here that are buying the $18,000 suites, guarantee that they're not paying the $30. They're probably paying a lot more for parking because it's included in there. It's included that whole price. So I don't know if it works out to $100 or what it does, but definitely they can charge a bit more when it's included in that package. So if we move from the VIP parking to on-site lots and off-site lots, teams without a lot of parking space around the stadium will purchase or rent off-site parking structures for game day parking. A team must determine if it is necessary to purchase off-site parking based on the amount of seats in the stadium and correlated amount of vehicles and other private parking lots in the area. If off-site parking is needed, the team then must determine whether it should provide shuttling to and from the stadium to ease travel for fans. So that is an important thing to take into account. The University of Notre Dame provides on-site parking for its football games that require a permit that costs between $70 and $90, depending on location. Then off-site is $30. So you can see the difference for the on-site, $70 to $90, off-site, $30, right? These lots are remote enough that they do provide shuttles as well. That drop off fans near the campus library, so on. And you can see that, during the game, they have 12 running, 1 during the game, and then 12 after the game until the line subsides about 2 hours after. It takes 2 hours to get these people out of the stadium with shuttles. So it definitely is a big business. The variance in prices by law allows teams to generate more revenue for premium parking locations via parking permit, while still providing other parking options for fans who do not want to pay the premium price. Okay, so tailgating versus non-tailgating, which we had the example from the Ralph Wilson Stadium. Similar to location, tailgating is a variable. The teams can differentiate parking prices, so you don't need to actually have a parking pass to go through the tailgating section. As we know, the tailgating set up in the States they have barbecues and they have coolers and they have football games going on and so on and so on. So a team can designate specific lots for tailgating, charge a higher price. For the amenity, Levi Stadium San Francisco provides 11 lots that allow open flame barbecues, 2 lots that allow tailgating but no open flame, and 8 lots that do not allow tailgating at all. The minimum price for parking is $40, but the 49ers have the option of increasing prices in the tailgating lots because of the non-tailgating alternative. So they can increase the prices in these 11 here and the 2 without the open flame. You can just imagine, like, imagine if there was even more need. Like, they probably found the balance between the 11, the 2, that's 13 plus 8 is 21 different lots they have. There's a balance that they found within the 21 lots. They have 11, 12, 13 that provide tailgating. So if there was more demand for open flame barbecues, they'd probably go down to, maybe this 8 amount would go down to, 6 or 4. So anyways, they have that in control. Cars, buses, and RVs. Now it's just a common sense, logical reason why these ones they can charge more, but for buses and RVs, because RVs and buses take up more space and hold more people. Simple as that. And as we go down, there's a few terms here I just want to share with you. They don't talk about these a few of these in the information above. So income effects here, and don't really talk too much about ride sharing or substitution. So these 3 things. So income effects, and they do ask you this in the quiz, so you should be aware of these ones. Income effects, the idea that wealth of an individual increases, the lower priced product will be replaced for more expensive, higher quality product. For example, if a team sets parking at $40, a consumer may look to get the VIP parking right next to the stadium, which is a little more expensive but higher quality to the customer. So that's what they consider. An income effect. Right. So be conscious of that definition. On-site lots, we talked about that already. Off-site lots, we talked about that. Ride sharing, an increasing popular option for fans to get to events. These services utilize private vehicles and drivers to transport persons for a fee. Examples include Uber and Lyft. Okay, so remember, ride sharing, that will be on the quiz. All right, guaranteed. Substitution effect. The idea, this one also will be on the quiz. All right, so be familiar with this. The idea that as prices rise on a product, consumers will replace the more expensive items with less costly alternatives. Okay, so prices go up, consumers substitute with less expensive, costly alternatives. Okay, less costly alternatives. For example, if a team sets parking at $80, consumer will look for a less costly alternative near the stadium. Okay, so it could be a private lot. Could be transportation, something like that could be a substitute effect. And tailgating, we've already talked about. Okay. All right. Do we have any questions on what I just covered with parking? Not hearing too much right now. Everyone's fairly quiet. It's pretty straightforward. That's good to know. Good to hear. I will just go into the parking and revenue, and what I have done is made the parking and revenue concept overview quiz is available. Okay, so someone give me the thumbs up that you are able to access it. Thank you, Eric. You're always quick on the thumbs up. And Serkan, thank you. That's good to know. All right, so that is good news. It is 8:35. What I'll do is give you half hour till 9 o'clock to complete the quiz. Okay, and then at 9 o'clock, I will come back and we will get started with the presentation for today. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to stop recording and pause the recording for a bit. I will be back in 24 minutes. All right, that should be lots of time to do the quiz and have a little break. All right, so we'll talk to you in a few minutes. Okay, 9 o'clock. Hopefully everyone has had the opportunity to go through the quiz. Any questions that anyone has had with that? Okay, no questions. That's okay. All right, we have a presentation coming up on cannabis in sports, and I believe we have a few of the group members online. Maybe one of you can come off mute, unmute yourself. Hey, Zach, how you doing?
Yeah.
Doing okay?
Yeah. I just got to pull this up here.
Okay, if you're going to be sharing something, just so you know, when you go to share, at the top of the share area, it says optimize for motion and or it's going to be a drop-down menu. It's going to be either optimized for text and images or optimized for motion and video. If you have a video, make sure you click on optimize for motion and video. Okay, so that just, and then on the top right, it's share your computer audio. So make sure that box is checked as well. See where it says share your computer audio. This is when you click on the share link at the bottom of WebEx. So once you click on share, then the box will pop up. It says share content, and then there's a spot that says share your computer audio.
Okay. It should be. Is it sharing?
Sharing your screen now, yes.
Okay.
Yep, up there. Are you ready to go? Or
Yep.
Need a minute? Or you're good?
No, I'm good.
Okay, and before you get going, just hold on. I do like to have some of your classmates do some review or do some evaluation on your presentation. So I will ask. Let's see who we have here. On a second. Ashlyn, I don't think you have. I know you presented, but Ashlyn and Aiden and Brad. You three are online. Ashlyn, Aiden, and Brad. Go to the Blackboard and find the rubric. Then you can use that when evaluating this presentation. Okay, so you three will ask you to evaluate this presentation. Okay, so just go ahead and find that, and the rubric's been up there for a few weeks, so you shouldn't have a problem finding it. All right, Zach, I hand it over to you now, and your group.
I'm good to go. Okay, so our topic was what is cannabis? It's a psychoactive drug that comes from the cannabis plant for medical and recreational purposes. So we all kind of know this as like weed, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people smoke this. You can take it as like an edible as well. You can eat it. They have creams for it and all. So these are just some of the positives and negatives of smoking. So the positives, gives you temporary relief of chronic pain, improves lung capacity. It's supposed to help fight cancer. It helps treat depression and helps treat ADHD and ADD. And then for some negatives, it causes breathing problems, increases your heart rate, possible problems with child development during and after pregnancy, and intense nausea and vomiting, and also some mental effects. It causes hallucinations, possibly too. And then, so this is the 4 major sport leagues. So this is kind of their policies. It was tough finding these because they kind of change a lot because they're always looking at them. But the most up-to-date ones I could find. So the NHL, they test for it, but there's no punishment if it's positive. They do recommend though, like rehab or treatment if your THC levels are fairly high, like above a normal level. The MLB players are allowed to use it, but they could be disciplined for breaking the law. So like possession, distribution in states where it's not legal, and then also driving under the influence. And also they've said like you can do it, but don't come to any team activities or anything related with the team or the MLB high. And the NBA, they've allowed it for the season. That was just kind of with like the bubbles and stuff they were doing before and now, not being able to see their family, that could lead to a lot of stress and stuff. So a lot of guys would kind of turn to like, I think they'd rather have them turn to weed than like alcohol or other different drugs. And then the NFL, they're kind of the same. You're not suspended for a positive test. But again, if the THC levels are high, they recommend treatment. Then Harmon D. Oh no, this one's so this is just a couple of the uses of it in sports, kind of the main ones I found. For injury or post-game recovery, and then stress and increased focus and performance. And it's not just for like treating the injuries. It's not just smoking. Like I said, there's creams and stuff you could. So like if you got sore muscles, they have creams you kind of rub on there. But I'll get into a little more of that in a bit. And then here's a quick video.
Everyone is talking about CBD and THC, which are 2 important chemicals found in marijuana. With marijuana legalization becoming mainstream, what is the actual difference between CBD and THC? Inside you right now, there's a biological pathway at work called the endocannabinoid system that helps regulate your mood, appetite, memory, and pain sensation. THC and CBD, though, hijack this system. This is the chemical structure of THC, also known as tetrahydrocannabinol if you are feeling fancy. And this is the chemical structure of CBD, also known as cannabidiol. What you may notice is that their chemical structures seem almost identical. They have the same molecular formula, which is C21H30O2, and both of their masses clock in at 314 grams per mole. But there is one extremely important structural difference. Where THC contains a cyclic ring, CBD contains a hydroxyl group. And this difference in biochemistry actually controls whether or not you feel high. In order to fully understand why, you need to first know about the CB1 receptor. In your unstoned, sober body, your CB1 receptor is affected by a neurotransmitter called anandamide, which controls pleasure, motivation, and feeding behavior. In your unstoned body, anandamide is released after exercising, and it's what causes a runner's high. THC's structure is so similar to anandamide that it fits in perfectly to the CB1 receptor, therefore causing you to feel high. CBD, on the other hand, because of the hydroxyl group, is different in shape and does not fit into the CB1 receptor, therefore it doesn't make you feel high. But CBD does bind.
So that was just kind of a quick little explanation. I don't know how to get out of this now. So yeah, that was just
Everyone is talking about
on the difference between the CBD and THC. So athletes use both, but it's kind of for certain things they're using it for. And then if Harmon Deeper, everybody wants to go here for this one. You guys are, I don't know if they're here. Okay, so this is just, okay. You want
One of them was here. It's Mike. Hold on. I can just see it. I don't know what you had set up. Harmon Deep is on the line.
Yeah, they had a couple sides they were going to go for.
Gagan Dot is also. I think Harmon Deep is muted.
Yeah, hello, sir. Now I'm going to discuss that how cannabis helps in sports. It plays a primary role in pain reliever. Then it helps to focus and relax. That's how it helps the sportsman to relax and focus on the game. It also helps in ingesting the plant, improves performance. The cannabis is mainly used to increase the performance in form of stamina and form of strength. And it also regulates the fatigue and can relieve physical and mental exhaustion. In these ways, the sportsman can improve his performance and can be better than the sports person. So can you use the second slide?
So this is kind of the cannabis, so how they use it for rehab and injury and what it's for. So it's kind of like it can range from any minor to major injuries depending on what they use it for. So these are just a couple examples. So swollen sore muscles, fractures, dislocated joints, headaches, anxiety, repetitive head trauma, and muscle recovery. And like I said, I'll get in it on the next slide. So it's kind of, there's a couple different products and ways you can use this. And like I was saying also, so the CBD ones are kind of the ones that athletes want to use. It gets rid of that intoxicating effects of the THC. So common product they're using and the more popular ones that are becoming bigger in the sport. So they got this CBD water, topicals, tinctures, capsules, transdermal patches, and sublingual sprays. And then these are some, this is from, they've had in the sports, like with the teams and stuff, kind of start researching this. These effects are just from doctors not involved in the sport, but that have done some research on it that have said some of this. So it can, by doing it, can negatively affect your immune system, could potentially lead to motivational problems, increases your heart rate, and can impair short-term memory and lowers your reaction time. Then, Harvey, if you want to go again.
Here's the athlete's opinion about the use of cannabis in sports. Or some think that if they don't use smoke before exercising, so they might end up getting high on their own blood supply. Some also think that it increases how much oxygen reaches tissue. So like it also increases the stamina and the amount of oxygen that reaches the tissues. It also helps athletes to forget previous traumatic experience related to the injuries and falls. In in these ways, they can increase their strength and also it's good for health.
And I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and that's the end of our presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll put up a. I've been doing this while I was listening, but I didn't have this ready. But this is the form you can fill out for your evaluation of your group members, and I'm just going to get the link. Give me a second. It is here. I'm just putting this in the chat. The link to the evaluation of your team members. But thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions about what was presented? Okay. I was interested because you didn't bring up any information about the Olympics, because I know the Olympics has had some instances where athletes were tested positive for cannabis. Did you run through any of that information, or did you find that when you were researching?
I did. There a little bit came up on the was it the Russian doping? What happened with them?
Okay.
I kind of when I was like research, kind of crazed over that, but I kind of tried to stick to like the four major sports more or less.
Okay. That makes sense. All right. And do you know, are athletes pretty open about using this as far as performance goes, or is it pretty quiet? Like it's hard to find athletes that use this?
A lot of them, like the more retired guys now, they kind of come out and said that they used it during their career or something, and a lot of them are big advocates for it now. But there's not as many that are still playing that kind of bring it up because I think they don't want teams to have like make an opinion on them and not want them on their team or something. They still want to play, obviously. But there's a lot of guys who have retired recently who have come out and said like they used it while they were playing and they're big of the sports kind of bringing it in as they do more research and find out more about how it'll help.
Okay. Right. And would you think that there's still like the research that's been done on CBD and THC, how do you feel about the level of research? Is it complete, or do you think there's a lot of sort of unanswered information, or what do you think the future holds for these two different products?
I definitely think it'll be a part of sports going forward, like more and more. But just kind of like when I was researching, there was a lot of different people had like their own opinion on it. It was because everything I searched up, you get to a lot of like blogs and stuff on what people were saying. I think there's a lot more research that can be done. They've done some good research so far. Like I know a lot of the leagues kind of have their own top professional doctors or whoever they have with them kind of looking into it and doing research more and more as the popularity within the athletes with it starts to grow. I found, and I think they're just kind of trying to do the most research to find like I think a lot of the leagues kind of want to bring it in, but they're trying to find the safest way to use it and the safest, I guess, type of it to use. I think like that, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that would be, I'm sure they're all kind of waiting for the other one to make the decision so they're not the first one. And I think the press probably just taking it slow. That's probably why it's difficult to find their regulations or their guidelines on it. So that's good to know. I know there is, when you're talking about banned substances in sport, there's so many banned substances, but like this one is definitely one that has been, because it's legal in so many different areas of North America, it's probably difficult for them to ban a substance that's legal. But when you look at alcohol or that sort of thing, it's not that it's an illegal substance, I guess just what it does to your body while performing. So I guess they're maybe basing it on that. And I guess if there's lots of research to still do, and I guess maybe the decisions haven't been made yet. So
Yeah, and there was part of it they said, like in the NBA, they wouldn't want to like leave it up to the state because then they'd have potential, or the NFL to leave it up to state, they'd have potential players flocking to the cities where it's legal and they're allowed to do it instead of say in some place you're not allowed, so they're going to leave that city. They were kind of worried about that too.
right.
And with the NBA, I know they let it in because the guys in the bubble last year, like not being able to see their family, not really being able to do anything, and having to play in the playoffs, it put a lot of stress on them. So I think the NBA was a big kind of eye opener for the other leagues to kind of see like almost a test run, I guess, in the bubble. I'd say for it.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little different when you look at, if you're an airline pilot and you're getting drug tested because it could impair your, I guess, operation of a airplane. So maybe that's a bit different than, performing in sports. So I guess there's a lot more research to be done still.
Yeah.
Okay, Zach, thank you very much. And the rest of your group, thank you. Oops. Okay, 1 second here. Okay, we are going to move over to the learning phase. And I'm going to open them up here. To do that. And I did put the links in the chat. Also, those that did evaluate this presentation, you can email me the rubric. Okay, the learning phase and the challenge phase has been opened. And I am going to go through the learning phase with you. And you can definitely move a work ahead while I'm doing this, but I'm going to commentate. I share my screen, so let me get this up here. Oops. Share that. Okay. You'll be able to see this now. Okay. So the learning phase. We are talking about parking. Parking does sound a little bit boring, but anyways, let's go through this. We can see that we are at September 3rd, or at least I am. Pull up the calendar, event reports. We know that September 3rd is before the season starts. Remember, event reports shows the calendar of the games that are coming up. Okay, you play every Sunday. Then your event reports, financials, shows you your revenue and expenses per game. Okay. And standings, we know that what team I don't think it really matters in this module which team we are, but we're just looking at parking at this point. And then when we go to actions, it's going to be parking. So really, there's the main lot price, and there's the satellite lot price. Okay, the main lot can handle 8,250 fans. Each satellite lot can handle, cars for those fans. Cars for 1,680 fans. Each bus transport about 1,000 fans to stadium. So those are just information that we have. I don't know why. Okay, get that later. Okay, so step one, parking is something your customers expect, but it is also a major source of revenue for you. Of course, there's a limit to how much you can charge before fans find alternative, such as public lots or other transportation. In this simulation, customers prefer to park at your lots, but will park in off-screen public lot if your lots are full or the prices are too high. The public lot is serviced by buses with a red stripe. Customers will pay more for your main lot than your satellite lots because the main lot is right at the stadium. You do not control the number of satellite lots and buses in this lesson. Okay, so that's good to know. All right, so let's try some parking prices for the next game. So click actions and parking. Set the price for the main lot at $30. Okay, click OK. And then just click up here. You're going to click start. All right, so let's do this. This will be our first simulation. Okay, $30. We saw not too many cars down here. All right. Okay. What best describes a lot during the games? Completely full, almost empty, completely empty. I would say it is almost empty. All right, but when we are looking at this, we'll hit next. You can also see that there were no fines or lawsuits for the event. I also see your customers' comments here. The main lot is too expensive, $9,900. I'm going to the satellite parking. So that's a lot. Almost 10,000 people said it was too expensive. Satellite lot parking is full and the main lot is too expensive. I'm taking the city bus. So between that, if you're looking at reports and event reports, you only had 14,300 fans. That's almost all your fans had an issue with parking. All right, so let's click on close reports. We go to financials, under revenue and parking. Let me look under revenue right here. And under parking, right there, what is our price? We got that right there. Okay, so we know that it is 65,340. Next, click close. Okay, you can close that. Actions, parking again. Adjust the price. So 30 is too much. Let's try 20. 20, and click OK. All right, now we're gonna hit start again. Boom. Let's see what happens this time. Are the prices good or not? Here comes the game. Boom, filled a lot. Okay, completely full. Okay, that's good. Had about 15,000 at the game. Look at the customer's comments. There are no fines or lawsuits. The main lot is too expensive. I'm going to do satellite parking. All right, so first of all, they're asking how many complained about 3,762 complained, right? See that? You go right over here. Got it? Okay. Next. So far, we're doing good. Correct. Almost 1/5 of the people complain about the price of the premium lot. That actually is good. That means you're getting good money for your most valuable lot. Okay. So you filled it, but there's still 4,000 almost that said that it's too expensive. So click close. Okay. Now click reports and financials. And now we're going to, how much did you collect for parking during the last game? So we know that, again, parking right there, 195,525. 195,525. Next. Wow, that's a huge difference. Ooh, yeah, it certainly is. Went up $130,000. Parking can really be lucrative. Yes, $130,000 more just by dropping it $10. Let's dig a little deeper. If the financial window's still open, click under high. High is right here. Okay, so click on that. Right. High detail. What was the parking revenue for the main lot and satellite lots? So as we scroll down just a bit, well, we didn't have to scroll down. Main lot, 65. Satellite lots, oops, sorry, 30. So, okay, so we know 165, 30, boom. Next. You may still have to have room to increase the revenue from those satellite lots. The customers will choose those and take the buses if the main lot is full. Satellite lot pricing isn't too high, but if prices are too high, they may find other sources of parking in the city. Congratulations, you completed. That's how easy this learning phase was. You're going to click submit. You could do you can't, they won't even let you do another one at this point. So we're going to do, we're going to close that sim. So that was an easy learning phase. So now I am going to let you do I'll just stop sharing that. You can start to work on the challenge phase, and challenge phase is similar, but let me just pull up the challenge phase. It's a bit different, so we'll just share the screen with you. Here we are. So in the challenge phase, there's only 4 steps because they told you how to do it now. Now you need to, I'm just going to click forward. It just tells you at the end here. So you want to get 258,000 during one game. Okay, so that's what your goal is going to be for the challenge phase. So you're the Warriors. Whoops. We know that in this, we are the Warriors. Okay. And when you go to reports and standings, you know, where are the Warriors? Okay, the Warriors are not the greatest team at this point. They haven't won yet. They have 1 loss and a tie. All right, I guess they tied the storm. Okay, and oops, let's get this off here. And target. Okay, so you have a bunch of different chances to do this. We know that if we go to event reports, I've already gone through this, so it may not start at the beginning for me. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think 10 chances in this challenge phase to get that reach your goal of 40 out of 40. So what you're going to be doing is you can expect demand for all games to be the same as in the learning phase. Okay, click more. Okay, so 1, overpricing your main lot causes the loss of revenue, an empty lot, and customer complaints. So overpricing, that's one thing you want to be careful of. You can, you know, you can have a room to play around. You have 10 games, so it's not like you're gonna. That's okay. So pricing more reasonably can fill the lot and increase revenue, although some fans still complain. You're always going to get complaints, right? We've learned that. Satellite lot also need optimal pricing to maximize revenue. So the key here, when you're going to your actions and parking, is find the balance between your main lot price and your satellite lot price. Okay. While you're doing that, also be conscious of your, when you click on your event reports, your comments here, okay? Customer comments. That's going to guide you on if your prices are too high, if they're too low. Also, watch during the games, what happens in the parking area in here. Is it getting filled up, or is there just a few cars down in this area? Okay. So at this point, I am going to let you work on those. The learning phase you should probably be done by now. You might already be working on the challenge phase. I am going to stay on the line with you. Let me just double check the thing. Well, I still have you here. I know some people have already left, but that's okay. I'm going to check something while you're on the line. Has anyone tried this yet or was working on it? Okay, we're good. Okay, so I'm going to let you work on those. And if anyone has any issues, I'll stay on the line until everyone is off the line. But at this point, I will stop recording and stay on the line. Okay, so I hope everyone has a great day. Again, I'll be on the line until everyone's off.